Hi, welcome to Chatty Chatty Chat Chat with me, Kristen Lucas. This is a show where I Skype some amazing entertainers and find out their life stories starting from their very first memory. This show, I speak with Micah Sherman, an actor and comedian in New York, and very soon he's releasing a documentary, Like Me. Let's get chatting. Life story, and the first thing I want to know is your very first memory.
Um, the very first memory that I have was when I was two. I had a friend named Brendan, and my mother ran a preschool out of the carport on on our house, and there was like a little fort. It was like a sort of like a raised platform with some curtains that like you could go inside and then close the curtains and you'd be in this little fort. And I was in there with Brendan, and we totally made out. No, that's not true. He was a year older than me,
Okay.
as I recall. And so I was two, and I knew that I was two. And then his birthday came around, and he turned from 3 to 4. And I just remember that being like me sitting with him and being like, "You're so much older than me." That was my first memory. A somewhat uneventful memory, but
That's cool though. That's a pretty young memory.
yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything like for the rest of the year or probably age 3, but I think where like age 4 and 5 is where like most of my memories from. I grew up in Hawaii,
Oh, nice.
um, until I was 6, and so most of my formative memories there in Hawaii, I do remember Hawaii quite vividly, and they come from ages 4 and 5.
Very cool. So the carport daycare was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Very nice. So what's going on in Hawaii? Like I've never visited, but I've seen pictures. I know it's absolutely beautiful. So what do you recall from 4 to 6 in Hawaii?
A lot of swimming at the ocean.
Nice.
There's some like pretty distinctly Hawaiian things that I remember not liking. Uh,
Okay.
Two of those being like the sun and like sand combo at the beach. Is not like a not a. I'm still to this day not a huge fan of going to the beach because of all the sand that gets all over you and like how sunny it is.
Which is why most people enjoy the beach.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of an indoor guy. Uh, and coconuts. I don't like coconuts. I like coconut water. I just don't like the coconut like fruit.
So you don't like the taste of it. You don't like the concept.
Yeah, the just the whole idea, the texture of it. It's just like, hey, do you like water chestnuts? No? Well, here's a huge water chestnut.
You're not having it.
I don't like it.
When you were younger, did you like coconut water and milk, or is this something you developed a taste for?
I developed a taste for it. When Vita Coco started making vitamin water and I read about it, I was like, oh, it's like natural Gatorade. Um, and like still like vitamin water doesn't like taste good. It just like feels good when you drink it.
It feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. Like water. Like it's like water. Vitamin water is like water except like much more.
So there's some vitamins in it.
Oh, did I say vitamin water? I meant coconut
You
water.
were kind of going back and forth.
Not vitamin water. That's like vitamin water is awesome. That stuff is so fake it tastes great. I'm
So
a I'm a taker of vitamins. I like to take vitamins.
So here's my thought on vitamins. Like, yeah, you do pee them out, but do you get some nutrients from them? There's the old argument that you just pee it all out.
Um, I know that there has been evidence to the contrary,
Okay.
and I also know that people who take vitamins tend to live longer and live healthier.
Okay.
Um, but that may be correlational because people who take vitamins are generally the type of people that are concerned with their health.
That makes sense.
Um, but it's sort of like an insurance policy. I mean, like, like vitamins. What are like a multivitamin and like maybe some vitamin B or D? What's that going to cost you a month? Like maybe $30, and you eat food anyway. Put it in your groceries, and then I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's like a compelling argument not to take vitamins.
I'll do no further research and take your word. I'll start taking some vitamins.
It's also, I mean, it's a hassle. A hassle to take vitamins every day. And it makes
Boy.
you feel like an old man, but if you can get over that, then like maybe your quality of life will be improved.
How many vitamins are you taking?
Well, right now I take like a multivitamin, and at the request of my doctor, I started taking vitamin D and B.
Okay.
Because, like I said, I'm kind of an indoor guy, and I don't, especially living in New York in the wintertime, you don't get enough sun exposure on your
True.
skin. So I take a vitamin D, and then a B. I've been eating vegan for, I guess, about a year now, and I don't do it religiously. Uh, like I'll have beef, maybe not in like a hamburger, but like a steak or something every 3 weeks, because my doctor said that like uh, a man is supposed to have like meat is important, like red meat is important for a man to eat. My doctor's a bear.
You must eat meat.
um, but he was like, just to be on the safe side because your B's a little low. Take a B12 complex. So I do that. Sometimes, like when I'm sick or when I feel like I'm getting sick, I'll take some zinc and vitamin C. I'll like load up on vitamin C. And I take a probiotic for my butthole. And
Does that probiotics help? Like, were you like plugged up and then you
I,
worked?
my stool has been fairly regular recently. Thanks for asking.
Great.
I think that you can get, probiotic benefits from um, like yogurt and other things that contain probiotics naturally. But I've never liked yogurt. I guess I've been a kind of a picky eater. I was much pickier when I was younger, but I still do not enjoy yogurt. I don't know how anybody could be like, yeah, it's just like ice cream. It's not just like ice cream. It's disgusting. But also, I've been avoiding dairy, so I just go ahead and take a probiotic pill.
All right, that'll take care of it.
Maybe that's the thing I'm most skeptical about because um, it's fairly expensive.
Okay.
I'm look. It's in my refrigerator right now. I'm looking at my refrigerator.
So, is it something that you could learn to like yogurt to get the results, or no? You're gonna go for the pill.
I'm gonna go for the pill because the amount of money you spend on yogurt every month eating, like if you have a yogurt every day, it's not gonna cost as much as a probiotic pill. So
There you
Wh-
go.
yeah, why would I fill my life with dismay having to like finish a Yoplait when I could just swallow a pill?
There you have it. As a child in Hawaii, were you a miserable child? Like, basically, Hawaii has sand, sun, beach, coconuts.
I was a moody child. I was a very moody child.
Do you have siblings?
I have a younger sister, yeah.
How much younger is she?
3 years younger than me.
3 years younger.
Yeah.
So, she was in your life in Hawaii. Was that good for you?
It was tough. I think I was pretty used to all of my parents' attention,
Okay.
and then a baby requires more attention than a toddler, so I think I got less attention than she did initially, and I think that was a rough go, and then I became a comedian.
That old sister stole the spotlight. And that at 4 years old, you started doing comedy.
Yeah.
So you described yourself as a moody child. Is there anything that you can remember specifically to your Hawaii days, 4 to 6 years old, that was kind of a moody thing you did?
I got kicked out of my mother's daycare.
That's impressive.
Yeah. The way that my mother tells it now, yeah, at age 4, I had to go to Creative Day preschool.
Okay.
And when my parents left me there, I just cried and cried. And
Oh.
I got kicked out of my mother's carport preschool uh, because I think I was having a tough time sharing my mother's attention with
Were you
like
killing children?
no. Yeah. I did. Here's one thing that I did do. Ugh. There was some rope. Um, my my dad's kind of like a handy guy, so there's always like rope around, and we were playing. This is not going where you think it's going, but it is maybe. I think this kid had on a pair of jeans, and I was like, "Oh, it would be cool. We could tie this rope to your belt loop, and then you'd be like a monkey, and then you could climb up the tree and be like a monkey." And he climbed up the tree, and then I pulled him out of the tree.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy.
What an ornery young man.
Yeah, that was. Oh man, I just remembered that too.
Was that the kicker that got you out, or were there other incidents?
I'm sure there were other. Um, in fact, like I think there were so many incidents that I think my mother still has this. My mom made a little photo album
Okay.
of me. Like I'm like up in the camera, like, and it says underneath it is a caption that says Micah can stop his hand from hitting. And it's like me like kicking at the camera, and it was like Micah can stop his foot from kicking. Yeah, it's just kind of just so the director for my documentary interviewed my parents a few times for the documentary, and they were like, "Yeah, Micah, he wasn't like a bad kid. Just things tended to happen." So like, I think it was like, I think it was tough for them to take me out. Like, I wasn't like a good kid. Good kid, like you take them out to eat, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just like here eating." It's
That
no
wasn't you.
problem. Like I would get up and run around the restaurant and bother other tables, and I just like didn't know how to act.
A real menace.
Yeah, I guess I was a menace. That's a good way of describing it.
When you went to this new the creative day school, did your behavior change? Were you kicked out of that school?
No, I was only there for a year. I think it was good for me because it taught me how to like be uh, away from my family
Okay.
and how to interact, like how to, meet new people, and at least it got me in the right direction. It took me a long time to sort of figure out how to make friends, and it's still an ongoing process.
I think it gets harder as you get older, actually.
Yeah, I don't think that's because that we don't have the social skills to do so, though. I think it's because we have our own lives, and things are in place.
True. And usually, like, as a kid, you're like, hey, we're best friends. And they're like, okay.
Oh yeah, immediately.
It's like, yeah,
There's like yeah, so, yeah. Kids have so many friend voids. They're like, hey, you, hey, we're best friends. We're like, you, get out of my way.
You don't belong here.
Yeah, yeah. How'd you get in here?
So, with your mother having a daycare, you guys were involved in the community in that way. Were you guys involved in your Hawaiian community in other ways?
Yeah, I mean Hawaii, because of its temperate climate, it allows for people to be outside and interacting with each other a lot.
Nice.
So my parents moved to Hawaii, I think in '78, and sort of they were hippies and like lived on the beach for a while, and I think some jobs fell through, and they were like struggling, and then they entered this like housing lottery for these new like I'm not sure if it was low cost housing, but like uh, reasonably priced housing.
Nice.
And so there's a lot of like Hawaiian families that live there, Japanese families, and so the neighborhood would celebrate things like Boys' Day and Girls' Day, which are Hawaiian holidays that don't um, that aren't celebrated here.
Yeah, I've never heard of Boys and Girls Day.
Yeah, you hang fish flags outside of your house, depending on how many boys you have
Wow.
in the house. Yeah, so on Boys' Day we'd hang out 2 fish flags because me and my dad were the boys.
Oh, nice. What's the Girls' Day?
I think something similar, if I'm recalling correctly, or just nothing at all. You know.
Girls' Day is like shame.
Yeah.
So, after 6 years old, where were you living?
My parents went to graduate school at the University of North Carolina.
Okay.
So we moved to Chapel Hill in 1987.
Very nice.
Thank you.
How long were you there? Is that where you grew up?
That's where I grew up. Yeah.
Okay.
So we lived in some apartments while they went to school, and then they're like back to the earth style hippies.
Okay.
And so they moved out into the boondocks, and that's where I grew up from like age 10 to 18.
So back to earth, is that like growing your own food?
Yeah, but they always had a big garden, and my dad likes to like walk around in the woods and like clear out brush and cut down dead trees and cut firewood and stuff. And he like, I think it makes him feel connected to the earth, and like there's always, if you're connected to the earth, there's always work to do and there's always purpose.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like a farmer's work is never done.
That's true.
I wouldn't say he's a farmer, but I think that he likes to feel. Both my parents like to feel closer to nature than they like to be around people.
Which is like your opposite. You're like, I'll be in a house, please.
Yeah, yeah, my dad's the kind of guy who always like changed the oil on his car.
Okay.
And he taught me how to do it, and I know how to rotate the tires, and I know how to check all the vitals on a car and stuff, but I hate it. And my dad likes to, like, he always paid me to mow the lawn, and, like, I wanted money, so I mowed the lawn, but I hate that. Like, I never want to have, like, I want to have somebody else to do that. It's like a waste of time. It's just a huge waste of time. Yeah?
Was there ever a period where you were, like, more like your parents, where you loved the farming or anything like that?
No, I think I felt guilty about it. You know, my dad also, both of my parents liked the water, and they liked boats, and they like to have like a little. We always had a canoe.
Nice.
We would go canoeing, and they eventually bought like a motorboat, and like so they would like tool around the reservoirs there, and just a bad time.
You hated it.
I hated it. I'm the kind of guy who doesn't even want to jet ski. Like everybody wants a jet ski. Like I could do without a jet ski. Like my family, like extended family, is like somewhat maritimey. So like my uncle's a ship captain, and my grandfather he was like a fighter pilot in World War
Wow.
II, and so I think he had her after the war, and I felt guilty that I didn't like these things. Like
Never.
that I was more into. I played basketball.
Okay, that's active.
I really liked performing. Yeah, I played basketball. Yeah, I was never like a video game fat kid. I used to always go outside and play basketball for the most part. And I like basketball because it was like interaction with people, and it was something that I excelled at. I was always kind of like an athletic kid, and I like the teamwork aspect of basketball. And um, then in high school, I got into the performing arts, and it was all over then. And then I knew I was going to move. I was always going to live in cities. Like as soon as I was in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to move to a big city, and I'll remain in big cities for the rest of my life.
Was there is where you from? Is Chapel Hill a big city, or
It's a college town.
but you just knew you didn't want you wanted to be in a
Yeah,
big city?
yeah. You know, I always sort of like wanted Chapel Hill to be like have skyscrapers and like be something big, something significant. And Chapel Hill certainly is. I mean, it's got a great hospital system.
That's good.
Yeah, which I'm not that into. It's got a great university, and I've never been that academic. Um, there's just nothing. There's nothing there for me.
So you knew you wanted to get away.
Yeah.
You were in North Carolina for your elementary school days.
Yes.
Um, do any of your elementary school teachers stand out in your memory?
All of them.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Let's start with first grade.
Okay. In kindergarten, I was at Kealakekee in Kailua Kona, Hawaii. That was Mrs. Dixon.
Okay.
She was a little ornery. And in fact, I went back to, like a year and a half ago, I went back for the first time to Kealakekee in Kailua Kona and went looking for her. And like I showed up at the elementary school. It was like after hours, so there's no kids around. And I think it was a holiday. But there's someone there, and I was like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of like looking around. Things are kind of how I remember. I went to kindergarten here in 1986. I had Mrs. Dixon, and they're like, oh, yeah, she's retired now, but she still volunteers here twice a week.
Nice.
I'll tell her you stopped by. And I was like, she's probably not going to remember me. And I'm bearded and enormous now, so...
Did you go? Did you see her, or that's all?
Yeah. No, I never saw her. Never heard from her. I didn't like leave an email. I don't want to be in touch with her. Um,
You were just drawn.
oh yeah, I mean yeah. Because I went back to my old house. I used to walk to school in Hawaii, and so I went by my old house and like looked for my neighbors and stuff, but they were dead. And oops, I'm sorry. That's my.
Is that your alarm?
Yeah, I was supposed to wake up at 11:30 today, but I woke up at 10 because I am old. That's what old people do. Oh,
They
no,
wake
it's
up at 10? That's
12.
wonderful. That's my favorite time to wake up.
Yeah, who sets their alarm for 11:30? I mean, waking up earlier than you're supposed to is the damn thing to do. Yeah, I couldn't go back to sleep. It was 4:30. I just like got my.
That's a great life to be able to set your alarm. This is Friday. You're setting your alarm for 11:30 a.m. You've made some right decisions. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about my life. It's nice to have that luxury.
So you went to Hawaii. You visited your teacher. She still volunteers, but you made absolutely no effort to see her beyond that point.
Oh no, why?
You don't want to contact her.
No, why would I? Mostly I wanted to see the school, and
Okay.
when I got found by some administrator there, I was like, yes, former pupil.
Not predator.
Let me prove it to you, Mrs. Dixon.
Okay, that
Nope,
makes
would
sense.
know that, right? If I'd been casing the school for years, I wouldn't know that. She's been right. God, I'm out of here. No, child molestation is not a funny.
No, it's not funny. Don't do it.
Don't do it, kids.
And adults, especially adults.
Don't do it, adults.
So first grade.
That was Mrs. Steed. She was like the nicest one. She was also, I think, my prettiest elementary school teacher. She was just like really loving. Like she was like just like the nicest teacher.
That's good.
It was really good for me to have that at that point in my life. She was really, really like super understanding of children, which I think is important for especially like early childhood teachers to have a capacity for. And I feel like it's something that's not really taught. It's something that, and I'm sort of, my mother's a teacher and she has her master's in early childhood education, so she would probably tell you otherwise. But I feel like there's something innate in some human beings that they're drawn to and like understand young children. And Miss Steed was that for me in my life.
Well, that's good. Why do you say you need it? Just the timing, or just the move? What made you say that you needed
Yeah,
it?
It was a really hard time for me, for sure. And by the way, I'm wearing pajama pants. A shirt. It was a hard. Yeah, it was a tough transition, and she made it good for me.
That's nice. That's a good memory to have about a teacher.
Yeah. My second grade teacher, Mrs. Bird, not so much.
No? Total opposite?
Mm-hmm. But then Mrs. Hines in third grade was a very understanding teacher, and she treated us more like adults.
Nice.
She was the one who taught me that, you know what? If somebody calls you chicken, it doesn't mean that you have to do what they're asking you to do.
So before that, you kind of were on the...
I would like submit to peer pressure like nothing. It was very empowering what she taught.
Oh, that's good.
In fourth grade, I changed elementary schools, and I had Mrs. Burris, who was an enormously tall, thick woman.
Okay.
And she was overpowering. I did not like her. And then I had Mr. Gilmer, and he was like from the mountains of North Carolina. He was like a mountain man, and he really taught us a lot about fifth grade is like you're moving into middle school next year. You got to have your adult shit correct. So he taught us a lot about sort of like being accountable and self-sufficient and that kind of stuff. It was a good elementary school tenure.
That sounds good. Did you have any crushes during this time?
Oh, totally. Well, in third grade, I had a girlfriend in kindergarten.
What?
Named Becky, who I had to leave behind. And so that was really hard. And so I think I was heartbroken for a few years. And then in third grade, I was like, man, I need to get around. So there's one girl, Christy, who I was like, she was sort of like trashy hot. She was sort of like trailer park country. And she was like, she had like a big claw. She would come with the big claw hair things.
What?
Like the claw, like.
Oh. I never heard it called that. That's a great description.
Yeah. She was real good looking and yeah. So that was cool. We had like a couple week thing, but then I had this sort of ongoing like love. We would write love letters to each other.
Wow.
Actually, she would like write love letters to me and put them in my desk. And I was a little embarrassed, and so I wrote. I think I only wrote her two love letters back. Uh, we didn't really talk that. She was just telling me how much she loved me, and like, it was great. It was awesome.
Who
I
was this
wish I
girl?
kept. Her name was Jenny. I wish I kept the letters. We went to high school together. I think we're friends on Facebook. Um, and I used to want to be called because Micah was an unusual name. I wanted people to call me Mike, and I would write the name Mike uh, so quickly that the K would look like an L and a C. So I think that she thought my name was Mills. So she was right, Dear Mills.
You never spoke. It was just a love letter exchange of.
Totally. It was totally like a cerebral uh, situation. We never like with Christy. I like touched her butt and like
Whoa,
yeah,
fast.
it was like it was racy.
She was trailer trashing
Yeah,
country.
it was awesome. And then Jenny was all about the like love letters and being my girlfriend and stuff.
Was this happening consecutively?
No, no, Christy was first because
Okay.
I'm not like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Uh, and Jenny came second.
I'm curious how you nabbed your kindergarten girlfriend. Do you remember how you got her?
I think we just had like an undeniable connection. I can't remember if she went to preschool with me or not. But here's a scandalous thing. Her her best friend invited me instead of her to go horseback riding
Whoa.
on her birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not nice.
No, not cool.
Did you do it?
Oh yeah. You never pass up an opportunity to go horseback riding because it could always be your last.
That's terrible.
I don't think I have gone horseback riding since.
It could be your last. It was. Well, that's a bad friend, but
She was a bad friend, but Becky, I got back in touch with on. She was so pretty on Friendster.
Do you guys stay in contact?
No,
Yeah.
no. I always fantasized about like going back and finding her and then like asking her to marry me, and then I saw her on Friendster and was like, nah.
Oh.
Well, she'd been. I think she was getting married or something.
That's
And
great.
also, I was like, hag. No, I'm kidding.
She doesn't look 5 years old anymore.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be running out of time shortly. So I want to kind of get through junior
Oh my
high,
God,
high school.
we've only gotten to elementary school.
I know. But you have to go, right? You have to be gone at like noon.
Yeah. Yeah, I got like 10 more minutes.
See? So let's go into junior high. What kind of stuff was happening? For me, junior high was very awkward. How was it for you?
It was my when I was in 6th grade, it was very awkward. And I was at that point very good at basketball.
That's
But
good.
6th graders couldn't play on the team. So I managed the basketball team. I was the manager. And yeah, I remember distinctly telling everybody on the team, I can beat any one of you. That was me as the manager. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm better than anybody in here.
Wow.
um, in like seventh grade, I played basketball and like I really wanted to be popular. So I started shopping at the Gap a little bit and I started going to parties and I had like a bunch of girlfriends.
What? I thought you weren't that kind of guy.
Oh, one at a time, of
Okay.
course.
Okay.
Yeah, I made out with. That's when I had my first kiss.
Oh, how was your first kiss?
Pretty hot. Let me tell you how it went.
Okay.
We were at Chelsea's party.
Chelsea, hello.
Yeah, and her name was Amy, and it was like like a party in like a kid's basement, and then so we go outside on the patio and close the door, and it's just the two of us, and I'm like, how do I get in on this? And so I asked her to slow dance, even though there was no music. I knew from middle school dances that that's how you get your body close to a girl body. So we're dancing, and then we start she had braces too. We started making out real hard, and there was like tongue and everything, and I was like, this is awesome. And so I went for second base and started feeling up on her butt.
What?
And then she had her friend dump me the very next day.
What?
Said I was moving too fast, which I see now. I see that. And I respect that. Then she went on in college to sleep with Pacey from Dawson's Creek.
What?
Yeah. She's actually a pretty big supporter of me on Facebook. Like anytime I like share something that I've done or like a milestone or something, she's always like, yeah, Micah! She's a star fucker is what she is.
You weren't big enough for her, kid.
Not at the time, but now she's like, oh, Micah Sherman.
Now was Pacey at that time, or was he just some guy in college?
He was on Dawson's Creek. I think she went to like UNC Wilmington, and that's where Dawson's Creek was shot.
Very good. Well, you're like 1 degree of separation.
Oh yeah, totally.
You could put that on a resume.
I think my girlfriend in college slept with the drummer from Maroon 5 before we got together.
Okay, so I love that you know about but I also am like, how do you know about these?
Here's how I know. In college, neither one of us had much experience.
Okay.
And so part of her experience was sleeping with the drummer from Maroon 5.
Okay. Oh, so you guys, I don't know if you do it still, but were you guys at the phase where you're like, who have you been with, that scenario? And you told them.
Yeah, I think so. I don't do that with anybody anymore.
I think when you get older, it's like, you don't want to know.
You don't want to know. I don't want to tell you. It's not interesting. And also, I don't remember. I played the fifth.
There's been a lot of years. A lot of years.
A lot of years, a lot of tears.
And sometimes beers.
Yeah, I'm definitely full of beers.
All right. In middle school, you were doing pretty well. You had this girl. You touched her butt. She broke up with you, as she should. She respected herself, which she did. How else? Did you end up beating everyone on the basketball team?
Yes. I was the MVP of the basketball team.
Nice.
And I got to third base with a girl. That was pretty hot.
In junior high?
Yeah, in 7th grade.
Is third base what I think it is? Like in the panties?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it was scandalous.
All right. Are there any key milestones from junior high that people should know, namely me?
I played AAU basketball, which is the Amateur Athletic Union, which is what serious basketball players in high school and middle school do in the off season.
Okay.
And we did a tournament in the mountains or something. And no, yeah, I mean, like we had a party, and I think I was in eighth grade, and so there's like a bunch of beer being drank with the coach and everything, and that was
What?
yeah, but nothing real, nothing big. Middle school was a tough time for me.
It sounded great. Why was it so tough?
I think it's difficult for everybody because you're sort of like trying to find out who you are.
Right. Well, let's get out of there and go into your high school life.
Thank God, high school was much better. My freshman year, I played varsity basketball.
Nice.
I got the Scholar Athlete Award.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty smart cookie here. And I that was the last year that I played school ball.
Really?
Yeah, I played AAU until I graduated, but basketball became too much of a commitment. I wanted to. I was becoming a real like two-dimensional person, and I wanted to fill out my experience with different experiences. Smoked weed for the first time. I started performing improv. I did musicals. I was stew pot in South Pacific.
Oh, nice. How was high school improv?
Uh, Amazing. It changed my life.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. It was. I was with so many talented people in high school. So many talented performers.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and a lot of people who've gone on to uh, continue to work in the same fields that we were doing in high school.
Nice.
Yeah. Um, so it was amazing. It really changed my life and taught me a lot about how to interact with people and how to treat people, how to make friends, how to be loyal to people, how to commit to people.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you have a serious girlfriend or a first love in high school?
I did. Um, my senior year, I was in a relationship with a girl named Megan. I loved her way, way hard. Um, our freshman year in college, we had a long distance relationship. And then my sophomore year in college, I transferred to go to school with her.
Wow.
And then we broke up.
Oh my. In sophomore year, you transferred schools? So where did you start out? Where was your freshman year?
Miami of Ohio,
Okay. And then you transferred to.
the University of Georgia in Athens.
Okay. Were you playing basketball at this time?
No, I mean, I played, I would actually, at Georgia, I played somewhat frequently with the team, but just like pickup ball at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
My career was pretty much done at that point.
Okay. You didn't have any ambitions to continue basketball? You were more into the performing?
I was, but I still had it in the back of my mind that like, oh, I could play professionally. Like I'm still in that age bracket that I could just go and play professionally, but like I just wasn't committed to it.
Okay.
So I never did.
So, at the height of your relationship, when you were loving her very hard in high school, what were some things you were doing?
I lost my virginity to her.
What?
Hello.
I mean, maybe without going like too in detail, was it okay?
Oh, it was horrible.
Can I hear the story? Can I hear about this?
Um, I had to flip over my mattress because of the blood stain.
Okay.
It was an unfortunate afternoon. Um,
Was in a
but
bed. That's good.
yeah, I mean, it was amazing to me. I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And she was like, just finish. But it got better after that. It got much, much better. We went to prom together. She was from Kansas and loved cowboys.
Oh,
And so I was like real romantic. I'm still pretty romantic.
nice.
Uh, See, look, I'm pretty romantic.
Let's see. Oh, nice. Those
That's
are
left
good.
over. Yeah, that's left over from Valentine's Day. You know, they were so big that my girlfriend couldn't take them home on the train. You know, because I care so much about her. Um, but she liked cowboys a lot, and so I borrowed my dad's pickup truck, and I drove her out to a remote wooded location.
Okay.
I asked her to. I can't remember if I blindfolded her. This is sounding so creepy already.
Yeah, it does.
Anyways, her eyes were closed.
Okay.
And then I got up in the bed of the truck with her and asked her to open her eyes. And I was wearing only chaps and a cowboy hat. And then I played Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi on the guitar for her. And then we had sex in the back of the pickup truck.
So mental picture is like chaps have open crotch, open beehole. So you're like Bear Wang singing.
You got it.
And she could not resist that.
She loved it, I think.
Right. You and your girlfriend broke up sophomore year. You had changed schools.
Mm-hmm.
Did you continue on at that school?
Yeah. In fact, I worked as a busboy at this 24-hour grill. And one of the other busboys was like, he liked busting my balls and stuff. And he really wanted to do improv. And I was like, oh, I did that all in high school. I could teach you how. And so we started like an improv group downtown.
Nice.
It was like a bunch of like dishwashers and busboys. And so like we started doing like short form improv and then sketch comedy and we were like we would like do it at rock clubs. So we'd actually rent like chairs from like an outside chairer, someone who had a bunch of chairs, and like bring them into the rock club.
That's great.
Everyone like we'd pack out the rock club and then do sketch and improv for them. And I mean like if people are doing if people are doing comedy like and really going for it in smaller towns,
Yeah.
people love comedy. Like in New York, there's such a there's such a saturation of
Right.
people doing comedy that you have to be doing a pretty darn good show to get people to come out regularly to it,
True.
And in Georgia, in Athens, we were doing the best show that we could. We read Truth and Comedy by Sharna Halpern.
Yes.
And started trying to do heralds, and like we would edit by like clapping and like high kicking across the stage. So scene. Which is not all that much different than a sweep edit.
True.
So we did that for a few years, and that fizzled out, and I started doing stand up in Athens and Atlanta, and then by my sophomore year, I knew that I wanted to move to Chicago.
Were you a self-taught stand-up? Or did you take classes?
I did take a class, although I don't really recommend it for people.
Really?
Yeah, it's better to just go to open mics, read about stand-up, go to the open mics and talk to people about stand-up. You'll get a lot of bad advice, but you'll also get some good advice, and just do it.
All
Improv.
right.
Improv, I recommend taking classes because there's a language and a sleight of hand is the wrong word, but there's like ways of communicating in improv that needs to be that's not innate and needs to be taught to
Right.
people, especially in long form. So I recommend taking improv classes for sure.
That I've never done stand up, so it's good to hear your input on it. Did you finish college or did you go to Chicago?
I did finish college because it was another one of those things that I felt like I should do.
Okay.
I probably could have left college and moved to Chicago after my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think it was important for me to finish out college because it college really like set the groundwork for me to like have a lifelong education of
Right.
reading and questioning and um, being interested in certain subjects.
What did you study in college? What was your major?
My major was telecommunications production.
Okay.
Um, so that was really helpful in understanding how motion pictures put together.
Nice.
And I'm using a lot of those skills. Like I'm working on a web series and pre-production for a web series right now that's shooting next weekend, and I'm using a lot of those skills that I learned in college, um, and not just in college. I did a lot of work after college that taught me a lot. Um, but I think college really taught me, everything from your life, everything that you've learned from your life, and add it to your experience right now, and it really enriches your experience on Earth. If you can look at life in an interdisciplinary way and find meaning in places where um, not everybody's finding meaning, or like where you're not being told to find meaning.
Yeah.
I think being in college for 4 years was really helpful in that because I didn't get that in public high school.
Right.
And I did, depending on the course, I really, and also like professors in college are very passionate about what they're teaching,
True.
often as opposed to high school teachers.
Right. Where a lot of times they're like, please, why did I choose this life for myself?
Yeah, there's a lot of turnover in
Yeah.
college. Professors are tenured and they've created the curriculum themselves, so they've got buy-in. Um, so yeah, I took like a great U.S. history course that was based around the People's History of America by Howard Zinn, and I took a great art history course. I took a bunch of psychology courses that I really found fascinating, and I still like draw upon the information that I learned in those formative years in college to help me sort of like navigate uh, my existence.
Nice. So off to Chicago, you went.
Yeah, off to
And
Chicago I went.
you studied improv in Chicago.
I did. I based my life around IO
Okay.
in Chicago and got on a house team there. I took a few courses at Second City and at the Annoyance Theater.
Nice.
I did stand up in Chicago. I did sketch in Chicago, and was auditioned and offered a position at Improv Asylum in Boston as a main stage cast member, and that was the first time anybody had offered me anything close to a living doing sketch and improv, and so I jumped at that opportunity and
Nice.
worked on their main stage for a year. Did a bunch of stand up and movies and commercials in Boston.
Nice.
Yeah, it was that was a great sort of like smaller market for me to be in before I moved to New York. It got me a lot of experience on film sets.
Cool.
And in the summer of 2008, I did a couple of pretty big, for me at the time, movies that gave me some money to have in the bank while I moved to New York, and yeah, I tried to, you know, capitalize on that heat and didn't, and struggled in New York for a couple years, and then started working for Second City
Oh, yes.
in 2010, and that was like the best job I've ever had.
Teaching there.
No,
Oh,
acting in theatrical shows. So it was like a sketch review that they would base around the city.
cool.
So I did shows in Atlanta and Boston and Denver, and just worked at a on an equity stage there, and that was a really just a great learning experience, and it's a great way to make money. Second City is the best.
So that's cool that it's even today it's still one of your favorite jobs.
Oh yeah, by far my favorite job.
Have you worked on any very strange projects?
Oh yeah, I mean when I first moved to New York, I was a paramedic in a like a heart medication industrial, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, that was awful. Uh, I was in a like guerrilla marketing campaign for Atlantic City where we'd go and uh like do a flash mob where we'd sing like a doo-wop medley of like how awesome Atlantic City was, and people would be like, "What's happening?" And then we'd leave. It was just like any flash mob that you see now. 5 years ago, so it was really on the cutting edge.
Nice.
Ah.
So would you say that your Second City job is the thing you're most proud of to date?
uh, maybe, maybe. I'm very proud of The Scene.
Yes.
This is a show that I curated for a couple years at the People's Improv Theater. Um, I like doing improv and teaching improv to people. So I'm really proud of that work. I think this documentary is shaping up to be something that I'm going to be very proud of.
What is the documentary titled again?
Like Me.
Like Me. Very cool.
About social media.
Nice. When is it expected to release?
We'll have something for like our Kickstarter backers early on,
Cool.
and then we may have some screenings in April,
Nice.
Brooklyn and Manhattan.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're here living in New York, still living the dream, waking up at 11:30 a.m. I think it's awesome, Micah, and I'm really glad to hear from you, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for Skyping me.
Yes. All right, so have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Bye!
Bye!
Want more Micah Sherman? Check out micahsherman.com.